Hey planner friends, how's it going? Thanks so much for stopping by my channel. My name is Ryan and this is A Man with the Plans, and we are back in my Erin Condren Deluxe notebook here, the monthly with my May budget. This kit is from Caffeinated Cait, and again, I am in love with the way that these get to be set up, and they're fun, bright colors. I will leave a link to her shop down below if you're curious. I will also leave a link to Erin Condren so you can take a look at some of these if you'd like. They're actually going to be doing a new launch, I think, next week for the new round of planners. So be sure to check that out. And there's a coupon code if you sign up for your first purchase. You'll get $10 off your first purchase, which is pretty nifty. So go ahead and check that out. But here we are back. It is time for May. I cannot believe how fast time is traveling. When you see this, I will currently be at Go Wild in Las Vegas. Woohoo! Go Wild. Which is a planner conference that takes place every year. I'm really excited for it, I'm looking forward to it, and I'm hoping that Go Wild doesn't bust my budget for the month. So let's go ahead and dive in. We will do the May budget side first, and we'll talk about the Debt Snowball tracker in a second. So I'm going to turn this over, zoom you all in, and away we go. So to start with, we'll do the income category first, and as always, this month is supposed to be pretty fancy because it's a 3 paycheck month. Now I know that there is some conversation around this because technically it shifts when you pay your bills, right? Because the third paycheck, it moves your start date and pay date for June over a little bit, but the way that I have everything budgeted is that I'm able to float things a month ahead, so I should be fine to be able to use that extra payment for debt this year. But what I'm also going to do, since I didn't keep a ton of room in here, is I'm going to add up all 3 of my paychecks. Now that last paycheck is a little bit wonky in terms of how much will come, partly because we have normal deductions for the first 2, but that third one is either like less taxed, so I'm trying to just remember how that works. So all 3 of my paychecks together would come to $5,490. We'll see what it actually ends up being, and I'll put day job in here since I do have a lot of extra stuff. Then underneath that, I'm gonna write project management, because I have a side hustle with a friend of mine's company, working 10 to 15 hours a week, and I'm gonna estimate $750 after saving for taxes for that, which would be nice. And then the last bit that I do for income, I'm writing the word transfer. This is all about my parents and I made an agreement when I went off to school that they would pay for half of my student loans. So that's what that transfer is. So a little bit about me now that I finished the income. Late 20s, single individual, so it's just me in the household. I live in Minneapolis, Minnesota, in the city itself, so you'll notice my expenses reflect that, but I just wanted to give you a heads up a little bit about how that works. So total income for the month, if I add all of this up and did it right, $6,540. Now, wouldn't it be nice if that was my income all the time? Hell yeah, I would love that. So that'll also be a goal further along. So the next thing we're gonna do is fill in these fixed expenses. These are the expenses that don't change from month to month and are consistent, and so you'll notice here that there isn't an actual column, it's just the amount, because that's how this works. And so things like rent, right? So my rent is always consistent, the same amount every month, $14.87. My internet is $64.95, that is the bare bones speed. My sinking fund, which I think I'll need to shift a little bit, because I am going to be picking up my car insurance. My parents were kind enough to take care of that for a long while, and I had decided it was time to be a big boy and handle that. That might need to change, we'll do an updated video on that. And then the next thing I also include in here are my minimums. So every month I have auto deducted $600 for my car, and then I also have my student loan. There's only one student loan left, these are my 2 snowball debts, and then this minimum payment is $461.35. Yeah, and we're on the graduated plan, so hopefully we won't have another major increase. The next thing, and this is where sticking to the budget, I'll leave a link to my March budget video up over here because clearly that was more of a guidelines and not a budget, so I made some mistakes. I was much better in April. There will be a video coming out about how all that went down. But so right now I'm just gonna write in the budget amounts for things. So $70 expected for gas. I haven't been driving as much, but I do think that there'll be some trips here and there that might take a little bit more gasoline. And so then groceries. I probably could lower this because I will be away for 1 weekend in May. But you know what? We're just gonna leave it for now, and if there's some extra money left over, that's always good. And then the next thing on here is restaurant. This was my killer category, but I've been much better this month, and that is set at $75. You'll also see further down that I added a Go Wild column, and that is actually all of the money other than what I've already paid for. So my flight has already been paid for, and a couple of other things, so I'll just kind of keep a running tab of how that all goes. The next thing is YouTube expenses, so paying for any of these kits or other supplies for my camera. I'm gonna put that at $75. Personal will be $125. Go Wild fund, I put at $400 because a hotel stay is included in that. And then lastly, UMS is like my water and sewer, which I will have at $40, but I think it went down for April. And then the last one I have here is my Excel energy bill, which I'll put at $75, but I don't think it'll be that high either. So hopefully we'll come in a little bit under for just about all of these. And when you add all of that up, your total for this column should be $1,110. Now, I forgot to do the total down here, which is $2,793.20. That's looking delightful. So the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna talk a little bit about the totals here. So what we do here, at least the way that I usually run this, is I take my income and my fixed expenses and my variable expenses, subtract these two from the income, and whatever's left, I'm throwing at my snowball. My budgeted income for the month is $6,540. My fixed expenses for the month, which are usually pretty standard, $2,793.20. And my variable expenses will be $1,110. So, doing all of that math, hopefully, if we do this correctly, we should get a total of $2,636.80 left over. What a whopping payment. You take that plus the $600 for my car, and that's just over a $3,000 car payment. Holy moly. We'll be in the home stretch in no time. So I'm gonna zoom out really quickly so we can get a full overview of what this month's budget looks like. There you go. That extra paycheck is gonna come in really nice and handy. We do have some big ticket expenses with the Go Wild conference. I do hope that I can stay on the lean with that and moderate those expenses as best I can. It's looking pretty great so far. So let's go ahead and flip over and we will dive into the debt snowball portion. All right, so we've got our budget done for the month of May, and it is time to talk about the Debt Snowball. Ta-da! This is an add-on, by the way, for Caffeinated Cait. You can go ahead and select that. Her Etsy shop is down below, as I mentioned earlier, but I just love her stuff and I think it's super cute. So I luckily only have 2 debts left in my snowball, which is exciting. It's the car loan, and I spent the latter part of this morning fighting with the folks. I have this payment plan that automatically deducts payments twice a month, and you'd get a reduced interest rate and it would shorten the term and all sorts of stuff. And I've just been really struggling. I've talked about it in a bunch of other budget videos with them transferring the money in a timely fashion. And so I finally just decided that I was going to cancel. And so I've started that battle with them. So hopefully I'll be able to take care of it. I was really upset with some of the comments that were being made about, you need to be responsible enough to make your own payments. Are you able to do that? As we were talking about it. And so I'm just hoping that I'll be able to do this on my own. I looked at my nephew balance to start with, which is National Educators Federal Credit Union. That's where my loan is from. And I had realized that the second $300 payment that I do as a minimum hadn't crossed over yet. And that really bothered me because I really like to have them done every 2 weeks, and they had taken the money out on the 19th of April. So filming this, it's the 30th. And so that really bothered me, and kind of just decided, you know what? I'm gonna make my own payments and just deal with that on every week and be done with it. I actually just went ahead and made a payment to wrap up the rest of the month. So right now my balance isn't reflecting the payment, but I went ahead and did the math for it. So right now, currently, my balance going into May should be $5,991.26, which is pretty stinking cool. My minimum payment, as I mentioned, is $600, so I'll make that minimum payment through a $300 payment from my first check and then a $300 payment from my second check, and then throw that as extra in the additional payment column. So I will write biweekly deductions over here. And so that's gonna wrap up my car loan. I'm already paid ahead through the summer in terms of actual on-time payments, so I'm not really too concerned, but I'm hoping if I can melt this, right? We said around $3,200. yeah, that's gonna cut this bad boy in half. I'm feeling pretty great about how much progress we're making, and that means that once that's knocked out, we will go ahead and set our sights on my last snowball debt, which I'm gonna go ahead and fill in right now. This is my student loan. This one, I believe, is like 3 larger loans all smushed together, but I saved it for the end just because, I don't know, that's how I felt like doing this. And the balance currently on this one is $25,979.57. It's hard to do that while you're writing. And as I mentioned, the minimum payment, $461.35, and I believe this is due on May 11th. It's currently done once a month right now, which is nice. We're in the 25,000 range bracket, which is fantastic since this started out way higher than that. I will be doing a snowball update video to keep track of all of that. But what I'm gonna do down here is total paid off for car, right? So I just like to keep track, total debt paid. And I will leave a link to my sort of debt snowball end of year video, which I love to see how much I put towards debt every single month. I think that's been really a fun thing to see. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add up all the balances right here, and then we'll see where we're currently sitting at the end of the month. Hopefully we'll be able to really knock this balance down a bit, because I really feel like I'm in striking distance of being done with baby step 2. It's so close. Yeah, so currently our total is $31,970.83. We're just knocking on the $30,000 mark, which is a big deal since I started with over $60,000 in student loan and car debt and other debt. So yeah, we're just crushing this right now. It's pretty incredible. And I just can't wait for the day when, you know, these minimum payments, that's $1,000 right there. What could I do with $1,000 in my budget? Well, that would be an emergency fund pretty quick. That's 10 months right there. That's a huge payment on a house. That's saving up for any travel or any other fun things that I want to do, buying all sorts of other stuff. So I'm just super excited about all of this and what the future holds. So that's gonna be really fun. We're gonna move down to this little bit here. This is my goals section. This month it was, you know, really focusing on bringing my lunch to work and no spend days, and then using my park pass, which I didn't actually get to do, which was a little bit unfortunate. But for this month, the first thing I wanna do is we're gonna stick with, since May is a longer month, we're gonna go back up to 20 no spend days, which I think is doable. You know, it's one of those things where if you just are really diligent about what you're spending your money on, I think you can really be okay with it. And then the next one I wanna do is something that is gonna be harder or easier now that the weather is getting nicer. Find free fun and activities. So like going to some of the movies nights in the park, they set up like a bunch of really great movies. Some of them are actually pretty current. They did Star Wars last year, or for those of you from Minnesota, Drop Dead Gorgeous was on at once. It's gonna be something that is gonna be exciting. And so the last one I'm gonna do is, as it gets nice out for May, grill out and have friends over. As it starts to get a lot nicer, my apartment has grills, so I had a bunch of friends over for dinner the other night, and I just grilled some chicken. We had some vegetables that I cooked up in one of those little aluminum foil packets, and some rice, and you know, it was a free dinner for me, right? That was just groceries I had on hand, and I had some leftovers, and it was just a nice night. And I realized, like, I have a lovely apartment and I should use it more, and I should find ways to entertain instead of necessarily going to a bar or restaurant. Leverage what I have around me. So these are my 3 goals for the month. I think I can nail them and get them done. You know, if you have any suggestions for the free fun activities as it gets nicer out, and then, you know, if you have any fun recipes for, you know, having friends over and those types of things on the cheap, let me know. You know, I know Budget Girl did a whole recipe on like video on throwing some parties for the cheap. Let me zoom you guys out. We are all said and done here. Thanks for watching. I'm really looking forward to all of the financial things we can accomplish in May. That extra paycheck is really exciting. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. I greatly appreciate it, and it does help me out. If you haven't yet subscribed to my channel, go ahead and click that red subscribe button so you can see all of this lovely content in your YouTube feed every time you open up the app. I make new videos every Monday and Thursday, and I hope you guys have a great month of May, and let me know what you guys are working on with your budget moving forward. Until next time, planner friends, I'll see ya. Bye.